SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.
Are you tired of dents and scratches ruining the look of your car? Look no further than Porter's Body Shop in Brookhaven. Call us at 601-833-1861 or visit us online at portersbodyshopms.com.
I'm Steve Azar, and I'm on the other side of the microphone, meaning I'm asking the questions this time, and oh, have mercy for the airwaves. I spent 20 years in Music City, wrote and made some hits, traveled the world, and then moved my family back to the birthplace of American music and where the magnolia trees prosper. And now every time I put my feet on Mississippi soil, when I'm off the road, well, I'm at peace. On this show, it's all about hearing the stories straight from the mouths of the friends I've made along the way, their journey to success. Heck, there might be someone on, I don't even know, but you know how us Mississippi types are. We tend to take well to new company. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them. I'm Steve Azar.
It's just like that muddy river, moving slow. Ain't no worries, it's how life goes, baby. In a Mississippi Minute. That's right.
Jerry Wayne Longmire's not going to be happy with this, but I have a strange feeling that the first segment of this show was, well, I'm not sure it was recording because all of a sudden I heard recording in progress. And either it's there or it's not. So he's got to spend an extra 9 minutes with me, which is going to torture him. But we got to have it. My guest today is a veteran stand-up comic, creator of some crazy, original, viral content, and well-known internet personality. He's a seasoned performer beyond belief from Houston, not Mississippi, Houston, Texas, who performs for our troops overseas. It's in his DNA. Delivers dynamic performances in intimate comedy clubs around the country and theaters. He'll be here November 15th in Macomb, Mississippi. You got to come check him out at the Palace Theater. He is with his Shop Talk. It's insane. The Wrecking Yard, Truck Astrology, all these incredible things on TikTok, Instagram, his YouTube channel. Everything has blown up. He's a really good guy, and I'm repeating this intro, and he's probably going, Steve, it's time for lunch. But I got to always make sure that we're recording or we're in trouble, and I don't know what it's done or not done. So we may have two intros and two first segments. So without further ado, hey, Jerry Wayne, you got to forgive me because I'm not sure what really happened, but I got to have it. So we got to talk real quick about the military again, just in case it's not there.
Yeah, 100.
I want to talk about your love and affection for our military, and if you wouldn't mind repeating what you said to me off recording or either its own recording, like I said, where does that stem from?
I come from a military family. Both my grandfathers were military. I wasn't, I tried to join the military in high school when all my friends did and wasn't accepted. I was kind of a heavy kid. There wasn't a war going on. They didn't want chubby kids at the time. But as I got older, I realized I'm not much of a fighter. I'm more of a lover. And, I just like to go out and show some love to those guys. They're going through all the same crap we are, plus an additional load from the immediate duress they're being underneath when they're out there on the job site, if you will, overseas. Sure. But they're still going through the same thing. They're still going through foreclosures. They're still going through rent problems, spouse losing jobs, divorces, all the political the mess here and the division, all that stuff that's happened. They're still dealing with all that, but also keeping us safe. And I just figured, man, if I can go out there and show those guys a little love, give them something to smile about and laugh about, then is that not the very least that you can do in that situation? And it's a huge honor for me every time I get invited. I have so many wonderful friends and memories I have made through doing my shows with the military. And one of my favorite things now is when I do a show here in the States. It just happened in Colorado. I was in Colorado Springs, and this young man come up and he says, man, I saw you in Djibouti, Africa on the naval base. And he said, I was having one of the worst days of my life, and you really turned some things around for me. And he said, I really liked your message. And I preach a pretty positive message towards the end of my show. That's my favorite, man. When I run across those guys here back in the civilian world, guys that saw me back then, I've run into guys that saw me 20 years ago, not 20, but I guess, pretty close to 20, 19, 18 years ago in Iraq and Kuwait and stuff. And it's interesting to see how their lives have turned out. A lot of them go into you meet a lot of law enforcement people who are ex-military. And I was doing some shows in Tennessee. And after the show, I was walking out in my car, and this cop walks up to me. He said, "Sir, I need you to stop right there." And I'm like, "Okay, what did I do?" It was in Nashville. It was over by Printer's Alley. So, I'm like,
I know, yeah.
"Oh, what did I do, man?" And he said, "I need you to stand over here by this wall." And I turned around and I looked at him, and he started laughing. He goes, "Hey, man, I'm just messing with you. I saw you on a military show years ago." I was like, "Oh my God, bro."
Wow. I love it. I had a moment, I've had many moments, but that have been a blessing, and I haven't been overseas, unfortunately. It just hadn't worked out for me, but I've been to a bunch of bases around the country. They are amazing. They're the best audiences you can have.
Yeah.
They're so attentive, and they like to shop. They buy all your merch. And I'm going like, where you guys where are you getting the money? Because, y'all are spending too much, but they're so dang appreciative, so warm-hearted. When I was in Clarksville, Tennessee, I was playing a show on my song, Waiting on Joe. These guys come up, and every once in a while I'll wear this band they gave me. And they said, this is when we go into battle in Iraq. No, this was Kuwait. When they were in Kuwait days, this was in that they go, we would me and my buddies would listen to Waiting on Joe before we went into battle. And they lost one of their friends, and they said, "Here is the band that we made for you with all the names on it, including their fallen buddy." And I see that all the time. I was drenched. I had to go play right after. They were right before the show. And I said, "Why couldn't you guys have told me this after the show?" I was choked up. And like we talked about before, off air, I guess, visiting Walter Reed for me was a game changer in my life. I walked out of there. There's a hope when you walk out of St. Jude. That is, it hurts to see these kids and their parents go through this, but you feel like they're going to be saved, and you feel like they're going to be. There's just a silver lining of hope when you get in that place. There's something about St. Jude that's that magical, and then you go to the Walter Reed, and you see men and women that are just literally broken, and I'm talking about broken in pieces. And then their wife of maybe 20 years old is wheeling them around, and they're holding their baby, and it's heartbreaking. It's just there's no other way to say it. Now, I love seeing tunnels for towers, and all these great things that wounded. I've done a bunch of stuff with Major. What's going on? He was on my show. God, I'm going to go blank right now. What's happening to me? Charity event in Tulsa that we do, Folds of Honor. And I love what they do. And I've gotten to experience all they do in these charity settings and see the kids how it's affected, and they've sent to college, and now they're doctors and all these. They've gone off to do certain things, and it's so rewarding to see all that. But the military is something we should always look at them and go, the separation from their families, how hard that is. You and I stay separated from ours, but we're not being shot at, and we're not gone for 6 months or a year at a time. That's extremely, almost impossible to keep a relationship going.
Yeah, the other side of that is that's one of the moves I'm trying to make these days is do more stuff that's veteran involved. Mm-hmm. As far as like I've done some shows for Wounded Warrior, and there's a place here in Houston. It's like I don't want to call it a halfway house, but it's like a recovery house. It's called Camp Hope, and it's for military veterans. I've done some shows out there, and I would like those guys get overlooked a little bit, here in our society these days. And I would like to do more stuff for combat veterans and things like that. People that made it through all that, give them something to smile about. Cause it's like you said, when you go in a lot of those situations, when you talk about like Walter Reed and even St. Jude, you have to, as a entertainer, you have to steel yourself before you go in there. You can't be in there crying on them people. They don't need that. No. They are looking for hope. You got to be that hope, man.
You're right. Not easier said than done a lot of times, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when you look at the parent. Especially when you look at the parents and the wives or the husbands. Anyway, just a difficult thing. But you're right. I've never really thought about that. Walking in and feeling like you do have to steel yourself. You do have to prepare. And I think I've been on point pretty good, but when you walk out, man, I get on the bus I'm just drenched.
Oh, you're done. Yeah, you fall apart.
Yeah.
I get in that car to drive home, man. I'm just bawling halfway down the highway,
We'll be right back. Being my most grateful song and moment of my life is having the official state song of Mississippi, and we are one Mississippi, and I'm grateful that I moved home from Nashville. You never know what God's plan is, and it's been a beautiful one. I'm Steve Azar. We'll be right back.
I keep doing it right. I saw the light. Sun came up in the middle of the night. Been doing it wrong for so long. I sure ought to know what it finally feels like to be doing it right. I saw the light. Sun came up in the middle of the night. Been doing it wrong for so long. I sure ought to know what it finally feels like. I sure ought to know what it finally feels like. I sure ought to know what it finally feels like to be doing it right.
Listen and watch all your favorite SuperTalk Mississippi shows live and on demand. Listen to tons of music. Plus, get the latest breaking news from across the state with the SuperTalk Mississippi app. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Download the SuperTalk app on your iPhone or Android device now for free. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi in your app store on your mobile device to get everything Mississippi all in one place. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Get it now. You know that nowadays, most people go online to look at a business before they spend their money. What if the online information about your business is incorrect, or even worse, not very flattering? If your online presence isn't great, you may be losing customers. STMM Digital's trusted and highly trained team is the answer. We're ready to work with you to help your business capitalize on the power of digital marketing. Call 601-991-2305 or go to stmmdigital.com to get started today.
You already...
I got me a brand new car.
Talking to
Waiting in the
Jerry Wayne
driveway,
Longmire. He's going to be down on Mississippi soil in Macomb, Mississippi. Yeah. November 15th, doing his stand-up thing. Hey, Jerry, what's your shows like? I mean, obviously, and compare it to when you do stuff online versus that live charge that you get when you're out there in front of a real crowd. Obviously, you get curveballs at times. Tell me the difference for you.
Live performance is where it's at, man. Live performance. There's nothing like live performance. There's nothing like feeling that electricity on stage and having control of a room. You've been there. It's just, that's my first love. Stand-up is my first love. My stand-up show is mostly, it's stories from my life, but it usually follows some kind of theme. The special we're working on right now that they'll be seeing in Macomb, Mississippi is, I'm working on my newest special we're trying to film in the early 2026, and it's called The Tipping Point. And a lot of it is about everything that's happened in the last 3 years for me career-wise and how much it's changed my life and the stuff I'm dealing with. And there's a lot of it talks about going to Africa and spending time over there and just, you stick a guy that sounds like me in the middle of Africa, you're going to have some hijinks. There's going to be some misunderstandings and some fun. It's it's usually a PG-13 show. I don't do a lot of dirty language, and there's no graphic sexual stuff like that. That's not my lane. I just prefer to tell stories about family. It's very, you know what? I think Jerry Clower would sit through my show and watch it and be like, all right.
That's difficult, what you're talking about. I got friends when we do our charity event and all that, and they go, hey, I said, can you keep it PG-13? The priest is in the room. And so he'll go, oh, I promise. And when they get out there, this switch happens every time, and I go, what? And then I'm like, at what point did that turn from it took like 42 seconds. I'm like, how do you go out? We've had this discussion and you go there, and of course it's funny, but being clean and being funny is an art.
It's a little bit of work. It took me, I wasn't always, I like most comics, I started out pretty blue, pretty dirty. A lot of it for me was the military shows. So when you go perform for the military, you get this document, and it's 8 pages long, and it's everything you can't talk about, everything you can't say, and they're real explicit and specific about it.
Right.
And so when you get, it's kind of weird. As an artist, I'll tell you this. at first I was like, oh, I hate this. And then I was driving back from a gig and I was like, all right, well, let's reformulate some stuff to work within these new parameters. And it was kind of weird when all of a sudden I had to work with these new parameters. It freed up my writing in a way that I can't even begin to explain, because it made me work harder looking for the punchline. I couldn't just throw a curse word in there. I need to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you start using that stuff for punctuation, you forget how hard it is to actually craft a really good punchline that's going to get their attention. And it freed me up. And honestly, I think my writing got a lot stronger as a result of making the decision to just go PG-13, period.
And so that was sort of the epiphany of it. That was sort of the beginning of it. And did you see a movement in success as far as even more people coming aboard? You're not eliminated. Like all of a sudden you're making an Adam Sandler, Kevin James movie rather than a alternative where, like they've always said, I've had a couple feature tracks in Kevin's movies, but they've always said that why would you just barely go over to the other side when you're eliminating this much of an audience? And if you would just stay where you're talking about, the audience is monstrously large. And it's worldwide and global. Has that helped your success with followers and people that are coming to your shows and everything?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't make like a big deal about it when I did it. It was just a quiet decision I made in my own heart. And a lot of it, and I will tell you, one of the biggest drivers behind it was because of the early popularity of truck astrology. I was doing some shows in West Texas, and people were bringing their 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds to see me. And I was like, well, I don't want to be talking about stuff in front of these. You know, I got a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old. I was like, I don't want to be talking about this stuff in front of people's kids, man. And I'd never had that kind of appeal before where their kids were wanting to meet me and stuff. So it just kind of, I think it was like as a father a little bit, it kind of stuck with me like, well, I don't want him knowing me because he heard me say this, you know. Yeah. I'd rather him came to my show and nobody had to feel awkward about anything. So I just real kind of quietly just kind of cut that stuff to the side. And I think it probably helped on social media a little bit on like some of the broader platforms like Facebook and stuff like that. YouTube is a slaughterhouse. I don't know that it did anything over YouTube, but I think it definitely helped on some of the more mainstream stuff. And they've got a point. You know, anything you do, I don't do politics because it just polarizes your audience.
Well, yeah, I don't either. I mean, why? Yeah. I mean, I don't understand some of the stuff that's been going on in the last 20. Well, you and I have witnessed a lot of people giving up half of their audience because they get so dang upset about it.
Oh, I've watched. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I've watched guys sink their careers because they just decided that they had to get in this lane and do this thing. It's not for me. You know, first of all, I'm not smart enough to understand any of it. And second of all, I saw an interview years ago with Brad Pitt, and somebody asked him a political question, and he said, I'm a 38-year-old man that puts on makeup and plays pretend for a living. Why do you care what I think? And I thought that is the best answer anybody's ever given to that question. That is a fantastic.
And he's gotten to avoid being in that lane because that lane gets you nowhere but in the wrong place. You end up in the wrong place. You end up upside down. And it's just interesting how certain people decide they get so worked up. And then they don't take, what's the 24-hour rule? I always go, okay, my buddy, I'm looking at him right now, the great Harry Bud Nelson, who's from Mississippi, but was one of the biggest radio guys in history. Always in a top 10 market from, left Mississippi and was in Boston or San Francisco or wherever. And he goes, okay, you're upset. The 24-hour rule. And I go, what the heck is that? He goes, if you're still this dang worked up after 24 hours over that one thing, just that one thing, then was to have a discussion. And by then I was like, but everybody's sitting there and they're getting worked up and they're just typing away. And then it's out there. And then they're deleting it or whatever. And I'm going like, are you kidding me? Why are you so compelled? And is it so important for you to be that upset to share that? And I'm going like, a mistake. We're entertainers. Why can't we just be that? And I think the world expects that. Brad Pitt said it right. There's been a lot of I've seen a lot of this lately, and I'm going like, come on, everybody, breathe for a second. We want all of our leaders to be great. We want them to all do great things. And there's always going to be trials and obstacles in front of every one of them. And all you can do is pray for them that they do their best job, and that's it. Hey, let's take a quick break. We are with Jerry Wayne Longmire. What a good guy. What a great talent. He's going to be in Macomb, Mississippi. We may never let him leave. He may never get back in the city limits of Houston, Texas. We may move him to Houston, Mississippi. Because, there's a place, I can tell you. Jerry Wayne's going to be here November 15th, the Palace Theater. And I'll tell you what, visit Mississippi.org. This is what it's all about, tourism. He'll be bringing in people from out of state. They'll be hanging out in Mississippi. And there you go. Bingo, bango. We'll be right back on Tuesday.
Till Monday.
Up to $20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute. The home at the center of a Netflix TikTok cult documentary was raided last week. Federal and local law enforcement served a search warrant for alleged sex trafficking at a home owned by a controversial pastor, Robert Shin, the subject of the Netflix docuseries Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult. The warrant was also issued for allegations of tax evasion, mail fraud, money laundering, and COVID-19 pandemic-related accusations. Shin is the pastor of a religious nonprofit he calls the Shekinah Church. He also runs a management company, 7M Films, that recruits young dancers, many of whom accused him in the docuseries of unsolicited sexual advances and manipulation techniques, also claiming Shin was controlling from their dances to their financial decisions, making them turn over a large portion of their money to the church. Shin filed a defamation suit against the former church members who countersued. That case is now set to begin in October. There's more on this story at foxnews.com or subscribe to the Fox True Crime Podcast. I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute.
Listen and watch all your favorite SuperTalk Mississippi shows live and on demand. Listen to tons of music. Plus, get the latest breaking news from across the state with the SuperTalk Mississippi app. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Download the SuperTalk app on your iPhone or Android device now for free. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi in your app store on your mobile device to get everything Mississippi all in one place. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Get it now.
Check.
In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Rocking into a Mississippi Minute. Jerry Wayne Longmire is my guest. You can follow him on all these social media platforms that you guys do. He's big time TikTok, Instagram. I've had the biggest kick out of going and checking him out before I had this interview, and already realized that I'd seen him quite a bit. And this is our first time to communicate together. We're staring at each other right now. And he's a beautiful soul. Visit Mississippi.org. Plan a road trip to Macomb, November 15th. That's where Jerry Wayne will be on stage tearing it up with his PG-13 show. And it's actually as funny as Richard Pryor. How do you like that? I just said it. What do you think about that, Jerry?
Well, I remain a devoted student of Richard. He was one of my early influences. There's few storytellers as talented as him. I keep laughing every time you talk about Houston, Mississippi. I had something happen to me years ago. I live in Houston, Texas, of course, fourth largest metropolitan in the country. And years ago, I was driving through Tennessee. I was on my way to North Carolina to do a gig, and I stop in some little mountain town way over there in East Tennessee. I stop in this little mountain town to grab me a little sandwich or something at the McDonald's. And I walked in there, and the lady's kind of staring at me, and it's a real small town. And she says, "Where are you from, baby?" I said, "Houston." And she goes, "Who's your mama?" And Sherry Kay. She goes, "Well, hell, I don't know her." I was like, "Well, it's a big town." She goes, "Well, I felt like I knew everybody in town." I said, "Ma'am, I'm not sure we're talking about the same place." She goes, "Houston, it's right down the road. There's a Houston, Tennessee, about 3 miles away from that McDonald's." I was like,
"Oh my God, who's your mama?" I love it. I love it.
Who's your mama?
That's so good. Yeah, Houston, Texas is rather large. We've done a bunch of charity events for Golfers Against Cancer there. They've had that thing going on. They raised a lot of money for MD Anderson for crazy cancer research. They've done wonders, man. It's a great organization, and we do a little reciprocal. We'll let them auction off one of our packages for our charity event. And those guys came from Houston this year. They were just here in June, and first time I met them, and they were coming. They said, "We're coming back every year," and it becomes family down here. You know, growing up in the South for you, do you feel like there's a wit that allowed you to sort of be around it? Obviously, your Uncle Bobby and your dad and everybody were big mentors of yours, big influences and all that. But do you feel like having that Southern charm has helped?
Yeah, I'll tell you, my accent is I wouldn't say it's a novelty, but it definitely works differently in different places. So my accent's kind of muddled. It's a little bit Texas, a little bit Appalachian, and it's because a lot of my people's from Tennessee. And when I go, I always tell everybody some of my favorite places to perform are in the South. Because when I'm in the South, people actually listen to my jokes because the voice doesn't faze them. They're not, they all got a cousin or uncle or a dad or somebody who sounds just like me. It's not a big deal to them. When we used to joke, when I go up to like, Kentucky, it's like, I'm just taking this voice home. They actually listen to my jokes there. But when I do shows, you know, a little farther north, you start getting up Minnesota and stuff and some of the bigger towns. You can definitely tell. I always hear people laugh at stuff, and I'm like, that ain't even the joke, bro. You're just laughing at the way I said that, you know. But it's helped. You know, I would definitely say it's helped. You can definitely tell when people listen to videos, some of the stuff they comment, and a lot of it's about my voice and the way I sound, and I get that. You know, I'm entranced with the way people from Ireland speak. I like to hear them talk about funny stuff.
Well, let me just break in there. I was raised by Irish nuns in Catholic schools, so I was in the circle of nuns getting beat from one to the other back in the day. And so I'd be careful of the Irish part. That's all I got. Anyway, I ended up becoming really, you know, as you get older, you're allowed to be friends with them rather than be scared to death. You know, I'm telling you. I had this one instance where I was cutting my shirt as a first grader. I don't know why. I remember seeing this red shirt, and this is before we had uniforms, and there I was chopping away at it, and all of a sudden I get yanked out by Sister Ann, and she takes me down the hall to my sister, my real sister Vicky, in third grade, and all of a sudden here comes Sister Aloysius, Sister Caramel, Sister Stanislaus, and Sister Ann, and I'm in the ring of nuns, and there's my sister watching me get rocked from one to the other, and you can't get out of the ring of nuns. And so then I can't believe I'm telling these stories. I loved them. So then they would go, when I was in third grade, we'd be singing. And I kind of felt like, you know, my parents, everybody around me kept going, you can really sing. And, you know, you're third grade, you don't know. But I knew that I wasn't awful at that time. And so I was sitting there and I would sing, and then next to me was one of my best friends, whose birthday is today, by the way, Jerry Cadwar, world-class karate. Like, I'm talking about top 3 in the world growing up, incredible, sister, one of the greatest in America. Anyway, he's still doing it. And he was really bad at singing. And so they would pull me out and go, you don't need to sing. And it was him. And so I would never tell on him, right? I couldn't tell on my buddy. Yeah. And also he could kick my tail. Either way, I wasn't going to tell on him. And so then I would mouth it, and then they would still kick me out. So then in 7th or 8th grade, I ended up leading our mass at Catholic Church and writing songs for meditation. And they said, it's a miracle how you were the worst singer in the world. And I was still too scared to tell them. But when I graduated and got out of college, I got to see with two of them, and they go, we always talk about the miraculous, how God just gave you a voice. I mean, this and that. And I said, and I told them, they said, why wouldn't you tell us? And I said, and get back in the ring of nuns? There was no way. I never felt safe till I was like 22, Anyway, but it was a good time. So, all right, when you plan your day to go tour and you're about to get out, we all have our rituals, right?
Yeah.
Take me before you get to Mississippi. Are you playing shows on a run? Is it a one-off for that particular? And then tell me how you pack and how you get there and how you get home.
Well, man, the packing part, there's not a lot to it. I have spent probably the majority of my life. When I was younger, I worked in the oil field and traveled nonstop. I was NDT tech, and I have lived like a nomad and lived out of a bag most of my life. In fact, even now, my wife has to tell me after I'm home for 2 or 3 days that, hey, are you going to unpack your suitcase and go through your stuff? And I'll fold that suitcase up and leave it by the bed just like I'm in a hotel room just in case, something changes. I got to go somewhere else tomorrow or something like that. I don't believe we got any shows on the way. I'm trying to remember. I think that's November, in the early part of November. I got a lot going on. I think we're leaving that first week in November open before Mississippi, because there's some talk about me going to SEMA, which is, the Specialty Equipment Manufacturers, Association. It's a big show in Vegas for, car people, basically. So I think there's some conversation about me going out there to do some presentations. So we've left that first week home, and I believe we've had some discussion with a group in Slidell, Louisiana. I may do a show on the way back to Texas from Mississippi. And I may not. I may just drive over to Jacksonville, Florida, and see some cousins and, do a little visiting and stuff.
How much do you tour a year?
These days, not near as much. That's really what you were talking about with social media a while ago, and being able to make a living off social media has cut down my need to constantly travel and be away from my family. And so what we try to do is we try to take about 2 weeks a month and plan shows around those 2 weeks a month. And then the other 2 weeks, my kids are teenagers. I want to be here for these years.
Sure.
So that gives me the other 2 weeks to be here at home, work on stuff, work on content. Plus we just signed a book deal, and the pre-orders for my book are are just selling like gangbusters right now. I mean, we're breaking some records with the pre-orders. So my publisher has decided they want to step up the release. So we're kind of in book boot camp mode.
Oh, yeah, you got to get going. Let's talk about that after the break real quick. We're with Jerry Wayne Longmire, November 15th, Macomb, Mississippi at the Palace Theater. Get your tickets. Follow him online. If you're not following him already, he's got a zillion people. And he's a great guy, been doing this a long time, and obviously I want to talk about his teenagers in a minute, what they're into. We'll be right back.
Up to $20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Homebuyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time homebuyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
Securing America.
Tuesday marked the 250th anniversary of the creation of the U.S. Army's Chaplains Corps, established by then-General George Washington in 1775, about 6 weeks after the initial formation of the U.S. Army. The aim, to provide ministerial and moral support to the soldiers. Major General William Greene, Jr. is the current Army Chief of Chaplains.
He needed individuals he could rely upon. And so those chaplains were there to care for those soldiers.
Sound courtesy of the Your Next Mission podcast. General Greene says things haven't changed much in 2.5 centuries.
We're still walking with our soldiers, ensuring that we care for them, showing compassion, love, and respect, but then also setting the conditions for them to help us as a nation to win.
There are more than 3,000 chaplains in the Corps and more than 500 chaplain candidates. Kevin Moretsky, Fox News.
Some things can...
I'm really enjoying my time right now getting to know Jerry Wayne Longmire. What a good guy. And obviously supports the military like few get a chance to do or will do. And it's in his bloodline. It's in his soul. Superior Catfish can be in your palate if you would just order it at store.superiorcatfish.com. Right here, produced in Mississippi. And visit Mississippi.org. Plan your road trip to different parts of the state you hadn't been to, maybe never seen. You're going to fall in love with your Mississippi every time. Jerry Wayne will be at the Palace Theater, Macomb, Mississippi. Looking forward to that November 15th, so get your tickets. Follow them online. All right, Jerry, let's talk about your kids. I want to know what they're into. Obviously, mine are 29, 27, and 24 now, and they're off in L.A., New York, and Jackson. And it's hard, but it's beautiful. I'm proud of them, and they're working on their crafts, and they have passion in their lives, and I love that. They're chasing their dreams, and it's beautiful. So my wife did a great job while I was gone 250 days a year. I don't get any credit, but I did move back to Mississippi after 20 years and moved them here and they all graduated from my high school, got to coach basketball, got to spend a lot of time with them right before they all left. Some, obviously our daughter and our middle son longer. But it was the most important move I could have ever made for me to get to know them. Tell me what's going on with you and your children right now.
Man, we vibe real good. We have homeschooled our children from the very get-go, so we've always had a lot of time with them. But in the years that I was doing the construction business, and I always tell people, I travel all the time now, but when I worked in construction, I left the house at 5:30 in the morning. I came home 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, head still in work. My wife took a picture of me one day walking up the driveway. And when I saw that picture and what I looked like every day coming home to my family with that kind of look on my face, I realized I was just miserable, and I didn't fully grasp what all that was, what kind of extra effects that was creating with my children. And nowadays, when I'm here, I'm present, man, and I'm wrapped up in them. And my kids are big gamers. My oldest kid's been doing taking computer coding classes and stuff since they were like 7 or 8 years old. They're so much smarter than me. And then my younger kid, he's just a riot, dude. That dude, if either one of them ever become comedians, I'm going to be out of a job because they're both funnier than me by any.
Well, you know it's in your genetic line, so you're probably gonna have it.
Yeah.
Well, if they don't make a living like you do out of it, it'll help them make a living because it helps build relationships. It just helps you be able to communicate. And that's so important, right? So are they into sports at all?
No, I was never really a big sports guy. I don't follow a lot of sports, and I just think maybe it just didn't bleed over that way, but it doesn't seem, neither one of them seem to have any interest in it. My oldest one, my 15-year-old, has recently, though, went with me a couple times when they were younger and then just never really, it didn't take. But recently they've been talking to me about going fishing. And I'm like, all right, well, let's plan us a fishing trip, just you and me. And we're going to try to do that this fall. We're just going to go up to one of the state parks and camp overnight and just teach them how to fish the old East Texas way. You know what I mean? Lazy fishing with a bobber and a brim hook. And
what's better? There's nothing better.
It's just a chance to sit on the bank and BS a little bit,
Is there any better feeling in the world when that cork starts to just bobble a little bit?
That first little bub, or even if you're tight lining, doing a little catfish fishing at night, and that first time you see that rod, just a little, it
so
gets
awesome.
You like, here we go, man. And even though it's going to be the same thing as it was last time, it's going to be a fish, probably.
It's so awesome. That is a great, the memories of all of that growing up, and you get to relive it with your kids. I love it. So I was gone so much when you're on a bus, you're stuck somewhere out in the wherever you are. And if you had 3 days to get back, you don't get back. You just sort of hub somewhere. And those are days I wish I could have had back and been there, but I couldn't. I was making a living and doing what I was doing. And thank goodness I'm at a point now where I can do it sort of on my own terms, and it's been a blessing. Man, it's going to be a heck of a show with Jerry Wayne Longmire. You guys got to follow him on social media. You probably already are. And as you can tell, what a really, really good guy, like a super guy. The only thing is he's from Texas, but that's okay. We're going to be okay. Now, and we appreciate you guys. God bless the families in Texas. I'm thinking about all you guys right now. We've gone through our craziness like Hurricane Katrina and the devastation and the loss and what's happened in Texas. It's been heartbreaking and tough, and prayers for your state, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. It's been absolutely devastating following along.
Yeah. There's words don't work. They don't work right now. Love you guys. Have a blessed week. Jerry Wayne, thank you, pal.
All right. Appreciate it, Bob.
I'm Steve Azar. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them, where you can take your sweet time.
You can now watch SuperTalk Mississippi on your YouTube, Roku, and on Amazon Fire devices. Plus, you can now watch SuperTalk TV live on C Spire TV Channel 70. Just go to supertalk.fm/connect to find out more. Listen and watch all your favorite SuperTalk Mississippi shows live and on demand. Listen to tons of music. Plus, get the latest breaking news from across the state with the SuperTalk Mississippi app. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Download the SuperTalk app on your iPhone or Android device now for free. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi in your app store on your mobile device to get everything Mississippi all in one place. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Get it now. A SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.